your cylinder and regulator all want to be connected. You want to connect your tube to the barbs here, and then you want to have your cylinder in here, and then the regulator that came with the unit attached on the top completely. You don't have to torque it off, but you want to have that. This is an RFID collar on there. It's not necessary for this operation, but so you can leave it there and take it off. Does
that come standard?
That comes on all of the cylinders now, because what we're evolving into electronic cylinder readers. So when you put the bottle in, it automatically, so it connects it. In other units, when you go from here forward, you might want to look at that versus this, because it's the next model out,
Okay.
So we're worse than Apple. You can't keep up with us anymore. So, okay, we want to do a calibration. Okay, so out of the box, this is going to be ready to go into a calibration mode. So at that point, all you have to do is, with the unit on and in operating mode, okay, it needs to be on and in operating mode. We want to talk about charging too later. Then to put it in, it's upside down and backwards. So you want to remember, when you're putting it in, it's upside down and backwards. You want to catch the, plug it into the little connector point right there, and then this is coming up and saying fail, because that's the first time it's seeing that instrument. So they'll get that as well when they see that. It doesn't mean anything, you just let it go. At any point after that, you can go ahead and close the door and flip the lid right here. Sometimes when these are brand new out of the box, they're a little bit tough, so you might want to have to manually flip that up. In order to calibrate the unit, again, you want to have it on and in operating mode, and it goes into the unit upside down and backwards. So we'll put it on in through. You want to make sure that that connector works out there and it fits into this correctly, because when we close the door, it's going to make connection with the battery charger there to make sure it's properly charged. And then when you close it down, you just want to close it that way. And now what is happening, there's the serial number of that unit that you have in there, and it's going to go through and do a fresh air setup. At this point, what it's doing is it's taking the air from the inlet port over here and running a baseline of fresh air across the sensors. So what we're telling the sensors right now is that we have 20.8% oxygen, 0 on LEL, 0 on H2S, and 0 on the CO. So we're going to run through that, sort of purges out and cleans out the sensor cavity, make sure that there's no leftover gases, and then this will go for about 30 seconds, and at that point it will go into a calibration mode. When you do get through and you do the and it does get through and it goes through the calibration mode, what you're going to see on the screen are these numbers that are going to flash up for each one of the represented gases. Alright, we just had a success 0, so that means that the sensors are now zeroed out, and what's going to happen at this point is that the solenoid switch is going to open up inside here and click on and allow for the gas to flow from the regulator into the tube and on into the unit. And here we go right now. Cal gas number 1 is going to read across that, and that's what we have here. At this point now, the gas is traveling through the unit, and you can see these numbers change. Right now we've got 20 on the H2S, 58 on the LEL, 15.3 on the O2, and 57 on the CO. If you look at these numbers right here, you can see the ranges that you want to be in. You can see that we're already in that range. So what will happen in just a few moments is that the calibration will be complete, and then we'll see that check mark on the screen.
So what are some typical reasons you may fail a calibration test?
Good question. If the reasons you might fail is if you've got a sensor that might be going bad, and if that happens, when you go to turn on the unit, then that sensor and that number will be flashing, letting you know that that particular sensor is in trouble. If you do have a sensor problem, you want to contact the supplier. You guys will be providing that information, and they can provide. Remember that the sensors are under warranty for 3 years, so if a sensor does go bad, you can replace it in the field.